Hello crafters, this is Yana Smakula. Welcome back to my channel. I'm so glad you stopped by today. Today's video is brought to you by Colorado Craft Company. I'm very excited to share their January 2021 release with all of you, show you the new stamps, show you a couple of cards I made, and also host a giveaway sponsored by Colorado Craft Company. More on that at the end of this video, and I hope you'll stick around to the very end. Colorado Craft Company is a newer stamp company on the market. I have shared several videos and projects with their products in 2020 and 2019, and I had an absolute blast creating with their stamps. They introduced a new line of stamps featuring illustrations of a world-famous author and illustrator, Anita Jeram, in October of last year, and those stamps became an instant hit. I personally wasn't familiar with Anita's work because she writes books for children and we don't have any children, but I fell in love with her illustrations, and while they aren't typically my style, I will tell you that, I enjoy coloring her cute critters and making greeting cards with the images that she illustrated. So I eagerly looked forward to this new release, and it did not disappoint. While I was chatting, I shared a quick peek at the new stamps. There are 3 sets, all 3 by 4 inches, clear stamps made in the US, very nice, high quality stamps, just like all of the other stamps from Colorado Craft Company. I especially love that these sets include not only quirky illustrations, but also matching sentiments. And a cherry on top, some even have sentiments you'd put on the inside of the card. That's very clever, as I always struggle with ideas on how to decorate the inside of my cards. Another thing I adore about these stamps is that the packaging features examples of coloring. I'm not the best colorer out there, and I typically lack coloring ideas, so having examples of how these critters can be colored right there on the packaging of my stamps is especially useful. By the way, all of these images have coordinating dies available. I'm not using or showing the dies in my video, but I wanted to mention them anyway to let you know that that's an option if you'd like to have coordinating dies available. Now, these sets are available exclusively at Simon Says Stamp for the first 2 days after the launch, so January 3rd and January 4th. And after that, on January 5th, they will become available on the Colorado Craft Company's website. I have links to all of these places in my video description down below in case you'd like to check these stamps out. With Anita's illustrations so full of character, I always feel like there isn't much needed to make a great card. I like to stamp her characters, I like to do simple coloring, and pop my colored character panel on an A2 white card base. I might add a colored background panel to tie it together with the coloring that I have going on the panel. I might add an embossed panel too to add some texture, but for the most part, I feel the illustrations speak for themselves and there isn't much I need to do to make my cards shine. You'll notice nearly all of my cards are rather basic, but they're super fun, and all thanks to Anita's illustrations. I didn't even add any embellishments to my cards. I did add some cute hearts to the Valentine's Day cards, but that was it. I made all of these cards over the weekend after Christmas, and I had the best time creating and coloring away in my craft room. I stamped all of these images using Memento Tuxedo Black ink, which is a Copic marker friendly ink. I stamped images onto Neenah Solar White 80-pound cardstock, and a mini Misty stamping tool was used for my stamping. Now, once my images were colored, I placed them back into the Misty and re-stamped the outlines with VersaFine Onyx Black ink. This particular ink gives a very crisp black outline, but it isn't Copic marker friendly, not unless you heat set it, and that's something that I don't really want to do. So instead, I first stamped the images in Copic marker friendly ink, Memento Tuxedo Black, which is perfect for Copic coloring, but it doesn't give me as black of an outline as I would like. And having colored the images, I re-stamped the outlines in VersaFine Onyx Black. It's a small hack I use lately to give the outlines of my images a nice blackness. The coloring was very simple, and like I mentioned, I used the packaging a lot to guide my color choices and my coloring in general. Here I used W1, a warm gray marker, to color the mice white. The gray only added a bit of shading and helped this image look a bit more dimensional. I also used a W3 marker, a slightly darker gray, to deepen the shadows here and there. I used R20 to color the ears, the feet, the noses, and the tails. In some instances, I went over the R20 with a W1 marker to dull that redness a little bit, especially on their feet. I also used the R22 marker to add shadows to the ear folds. The rest of the coloring was even simpler than that. I did use my no blending coloring method. If you're not familiar with that, I have a video explaining it in detail. Simply put, it's a coloring technique where there's no blending. You add the color, you layer one color on top of the other color or another shade, but you don't blend the colors or the shades, leaving visible difference between the lighter and the darker colors on your image. It's a pretty cool technique. It's also a very easy technique. This is what I used to color all of the images that I'm sharing in this video. I used a Y11 and Y35 markers to color the bow yellow, and you can see a clear difference between the two colors. And that's what makes this coloring so fun. It's so easy. I also like to say it's stress-free. No need to worry about picking the right colors of markers that are going to blend well together. Just use what looks good to you. I also used RV11 and RV34 to color the chocolate box pink. I added big, bulky shadow from the bow using the darker marker, and I loved the result. Now, I always try to ground my critters so that it doesn't look as if they're floating in the air, and for that, I either use gray markers to add some ground, like I'm doing here with a W1 and W3, and sometimes a W5 marker, or a green marker to mimic grass. The sample colored illustrations also showed some white highlights, and so I decided to replicate that using a white pen, and I added some highlights to the chocolate box. Love the result. I used my Sakura Jelly Roll pen in size 10. Before I jump to card assembly, I also wanted to show you how I colored the bunnies. They are so perfectly adorable. All of the illustrations are so cute and so darling. I used E51 as the lightest brown marker here. I don't have a lot of Copic markers. I certainly don't have the full 300-something collection, but I try to make do with what I have. I take the chart of the markers that I do have and try to match it the best I can to the colors on these sample illustrations, and that works quite well for me. For the bunnies, I picked E51, E31, E33, and E37. You can see I'm constantly pausing and looking at the packaging. I'm basically copying the way Anita colored her critters. I love her coloring style, and I think that it fits these critters so well, there's no need to reinvent the wheel. And the coloring is quite simple enough to mass produce these cards should you need to. I'm not sure if you noticed, but the black outline isn't quite that black on this image. That's because I had just stamped that in Memento ink that I mentioned. Since my coloring isn't finished yet, I haven't yet added the black outline with the VersaFine Onyx Black ink. Take a look at the finished card, and you'll notice a big difference in the intensity of the black outline of these images. It makes quite a difference. Here, the bunnies are standing in grass, so I used a YG03 marker to color the grass green. I added flicks of color and colored the black grass lines on the paper. Then I added various size dots at the bottom to create an uneven grass edge. I also used the same technique and added blue dots to mimic sky using a B000 marker. I didn't film how I colored every image as it's pretty simple, and also because I didn't want this video to be too long. Instead, I figured I would focus on a fun tip on how to add interest, on a technique that you could try when making these cards. When I started coloring my images, I had colored one of the chocolate boxes that the mice were holding blue. It seemed like a fun color choice at the moment, but I regretted it later, and I was looking for a way to cover it up without having to redo the whole card. This pushed me to idea of using a rather old technique of cutting a part of the image up and adding it in place of the original image, but with foam adhesive to create dimension. This is called 3D decoupage technique, although I prefer a slightly more modern name and I call it dimensional spotlight technique. Many of my cards today feature this fun technique for some added dimension. Here are the hamster cards, for example. I stamped and colored the images, but additionally stamped part of the same image and also colored it. The little shamrocks and the dragonfly for this card. I then used my scissors and cut the images right up to the edge. You can't do this with a die, you have to use your scissors to make that kind of cut. And I find I need to use my spring cut scissors from Tonic when cutting anything like that, as it makes it a lot easier on my wrist. These are really nice, high quality scissors, perfect for cutting anything like that. I'm sorry the cutting part was out of focus here. I was so focused on the cutting, I didn't realize that my camera wasn't focusing properly on what I was doing. You then just add a foam square behind your cutout image and pop it up over the original for a fun, unexpected detail. Here's a close-up. So you have a flat card, a flat colored image with one-dimensional detail. This is a great technique to add detail and interest to a card, but also to cover up or fix any mistakes you might have. Say you didn't like the colors of the markers you used for your coloring, or you smeared something, or you just need to cover something up with another image. I did the same for the other hamster card. I stamped one additional shamrock, the one that the hamster is holding, cut that out and foam mounted onto the card. I also stamped the field of shamrocks. I colored some of them out, cut them out, and foam mounted onto the card to add unexpected dimension to the field. You can also step this up a little bit and use a black marker and run it on the edge of your cutouts to have the edge of the cutout image black. I did that on some of the cards, but not all. So this is that first card where I colored the chocolate box blue. It has a triple layer of dimension. I have the mouse on the left stamped on the background panel. I have an identical mouse foam mounted over it, but without the tail, as the tail would have been too detailed to cut out and too skinny to foam mount. And finally, I have the chocolate box foam mounted over that. The mouse on the right only has two layers, one stamped directly on the background and one that is foam mounted over it. I cut my background panel to 3 3/4 inches by 5 inches and foam mounted onto white A2 card base. I also added a light gray cardstock panel here. I did dry emboss it using a big dot embossing folder from Fun Stamper's Journey, and you'll notice I added some pink and white plastic hearts to dress it up. And just to compare, here's another card where the images are simply colored flat on the card. There's no spotlight happening here. Both cards are cute, but I think the one on the left is a lot more interesting due to that spotlight dimension. I wanted to share both cards side by side, as I do like them both, but I also wanted to give you a simple technique to step the card up if you wanted to. Now this card also features some spotlight dimension, although I didn't cut any parts of the image out. I just cut out the whole image altogether and foam mounted that onto the background, where I had previously stamped the same mice. You can see the whiskers are stamped on the background, and so is the sentiment, while everything else is foam mounted for added dimension. I also cut this panel to 3 3/4 by 5 inches and foam mounted onto A2 white card base and added a yellow dry embossed panel to go together with a yellow bow on the mouse on the right. And here's that handsome hamster. His shamrock and dragonfly are dimensional and they look super cute on this simple card. And the second hamster is just as darling with more shamrocks in the spotlight. This one actually has a sentiment that continues on the inside of the card. The outside reads, "A good friend is like a 4-leaf clover, hard to find and lucky to have." The other hamster card is just the same, with the same message on the outside and on the inside. Now this bunny card doesn't feature any spotlight dimension. It is a flat card, but I do love the sweet images and the sentiment. So happy I get to call you mine. This bunny card, on the other hand, does carry a sentiment on the inside of the card. The outside says, "Still cozy after all these years, through all the love, sweat, and tears." Now let's talk giveaway. I have one stamp set to give away to a lucky winner. To enter the giveaway, please follow Colorado Craft Company on Instagram and subscribe to my blog. There is a link in the video description, and also comment on the blog letting me know your favorite way to color. I'll pick the winner on January 6th or 7th, and I'll email you to let you know that you won. Love you guys. Thanks so much for stopping by today, and I'll see you next week.